Catherine Whitmore grabbed the crystal champagne flute and hurled it directly into Elena's face. "That's for contaminating my family for 4 years, you worthless street rat." The golden liquid dripped down Elena's cheeks, mixing with her tears. Marcus shoved divorce papers into her trembling hands. "Sign it, now." 300 guests watched. Cameras recorded. His mistress Vanessa laughed. And Elena signed with shaking fingers, not knowing that in 2 hours she would discover she was worth more than everyone in that room combined. The Whitmores had just made the biggest mistake of their lives. If you believe karma is real and love watching cruel people get exactly what they deserve, you need to hear this story. Subscribe now and turn on notifications. Comment your city below. I want to see how far Elena's revenge travels. What happens next will shock you. Sign it. Marcus's voice sliced through the ballroom. Elena stared at the divorce papers. Champagne dripped from her chin onto the pages. "Marcus, please. It's New Year's Eve. Can we talk privately for 5 minutes?" "Talk," he laughed. "We're done talking. We were done the moment I realized what a mistake I made marrying you." He grabbed her wrist and twisted. Elena gasped in pain. "Sign. Now." Catherine stepped forward. "Did you hear my son? Or is your orphan brain too slow to process simple instructions?" "I gave you 4 years." Elena's voice cracked. "I worked double shifts to pay for his law school. I did everything. Everything." Catherine cut her off. "You scrubbed our toilets, you served our guests, you humiliated us at every event. That's not a wife, that's a maid who forgot her place." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Vanessa tightened her grip on Marcus's other arm. "Baby, this is boring. Just have security drag her out already." "1 minute, sweetheart." Marcus turned back to Elena. "Two choices. Sign and take $300. Refuse and get thrown out with nothing. Pick." $300, 4 years, and you're giving me $300. Richard Whitmore pushed through the crowd. His breath reeked of whiskey. "You should kiss our feet." He jabbed a finger in Elena's face. "You came from garbage. State facility trash. My son marrying you is charity. The greatest charity this family ever wasted." "Dad's absolutely right." Priscilla held up her phone. 90,000 watching live now. Say hi, Elena, #StreetRatDivorce. You're going viral for all the wrong reasons. Elena looked around. 300 faces, most of them smiling, enjoying the show. Not one person stepping forward. "Marcus." She tried one last time. "I loved you. Doesn't that count for anything?" He smiled, the same smile she had once found charming. "Love, Elena, I felt sorry for you. You were a project. A charity case for my father's campaign. The struggling orphans saved by the generous Whitmores. Great publicity, bad investment. Project's over now." Vanessa giggled. She actually believed you loved her. God, that's pathetic. "Sign the papers." Catherine's voice turned to ice. "I won't ask again." Elena looked down. Her vision blurred. Prenuptial agreement, 0 assets, 0 compensation. Her hand moved. The signature came out shaky and wrong. Catherine snatched the papers immediately. Finally, "Richard, call security." "Wait." Marcus pulled out a crumpled envelope. He threw it at Elena's feet. It landed in the puddle of champagne. "Your $300, more than you deserve." "Pick it up." Priscilla's voice dripped venom. "Pick it up like the beggar you are. My followers want to see this." Elena didn't move. "I said pick it up." Priscilla shoved her hard. Elena stumbled but stayed on her feet. "Enough." Marcus waved dismissively. "Get her out. I'm done looking at her face." 2 security guards grabbed Elena's arms. "Let go." She struggled. "I can walk myself." "You sure?" One guard laughed. "Doesn't look like it." They dragged her toward the door. Guests parted like she was contagious. "Happy New Year, street rat," someone yelled. More laughter. "Wait." Elena twisted in their grip. "My coat. It's freezing outside." Catherine didn't even look at her. "Servants' things stay in servants' quarters. You're not welcome anywhere in this house." "It's 15 degrees. Then run fast." The front door opened. Cold air hit Elena like a fist. Snow was falling hard. The guards shoved her outside. She stumbled down the steps and nearly fell. The door slammed behind her. Music resumed inside. The party continued. She was already forgotten. Elena walked, one foot after another, down the driveway, past the expensive cars, past the valets who looked away. Her shoes soaked through. Her fingers went numb, then her toes. She reached the bus stop and collapsed onto the snow-covered bench. 4 years. She had given him everything. Every dollar, every hour, every piece of herself. Gone. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it. Probably Priscilla's video going viral. It buzzed again, and again. She pulled it out with frozen fingers. Unknown number. Something made her answer. Hello, Miss Elena Price? A man's voice. Professional, urgent. Who is this? Le David Chen, senior partner at Chen Morrison and Associates. I'm calling about your father. Elena almost laughed. My father? I don't have a father. I'm an orphan. Is this a joke? No joke, Miss Price. Your biological father is James Blackwood, founder of Blackwood Pharmaceuticals. He's been searching for you for 28 years. He's dying. He needs to see you tonight. Elena's heart stopped. James Blackwood, the billionaire. Yes, you're his only child, his sole heir. I'm sending a car now. 8 minutes. Please stay where you are. How do I know this is real? How do I know you're not? When you were born, your mother named you Elena Grace. Grace was her name. She wanted you to carry it. Elena stopped breathing. She had never told anyone that name. The name crossed out in her orphanage file. The name replaced with Elena Price, parents unknown. How do you know that? She whispered. Because your father never stopped looking. 8 minutes, Miss Price. The line went dead. Elena sat frozen. Snow fell around her. Her mind raced. This couldn't be real. Things like this didn't happen to people like her. But he knew the name nobody knew. 7 minutes later, headlights cut through the snow. A black Rolls-Royce pulled up. A man in his 50s stepped out. Silver hair, sharp eyes. Miss Price, I'm David Chen. Please get in before you freeze. I need proof first. David pulled out a photograph and handed it to her. Elena's heart stopped. A young woman stared back. Dark hair, green eyes, high cheekbones, the same face Elena saw in the mirror every day. Your mother, David said quietly. Grace Chen Blackwood. She died 28 years ago. You disappeared the same night. Elena's hand trembled. She looks exactly like me. You look exactly like her. Please, Miss Price. Your father has waited 28 years. He doesn't have much time left. Elena got in the car. David climbed in beside her. The driver pulled away. Tell me everything, Elena said. Now. Your mother met James 30 years ago. She was a researcher. He was building his empire. They fell in love immediately. Married within 6 months, she became pregnant right away. Elena clutched the photograph. Then she died. Car accident. Brakes failed on a mountain road. James was told both she and the baby were dead. But I didn't die. No. Someone took you from the accident scene. Someone paid to have you buried in the foster system. Someone wanted James destroyed. Who? David hesitated. James will tell you himself. 20 minutes later, the car stopped. David led Elena inside and down a long hallway. He stopped at a door. He's inside. He's been waiting 28 years for this moment. Elena pushed open the door. A man sat in a wheelchair by the fireplace. Thin, fragile. Tubes connected to an oxygen tank. His skin had the yellow tint of terminal illness. But his eyes blazed with life. Elena. His voice was weak but filled with wonder. My Elena. My little girl. I found you. Elena couldn't move, couldn't speak. Come closer. He beckoned with a trembling hand. Let me see Grace's face one more time. Elena walked to him slowly and knelt down. James reached out and touched her cheek. His fingers were cold but gentle. You look exactly like her, he whispered. Exactly like your mother. Same eyes, same face. I knew you were alive. Everyone said I was crazy, but I knew. How did you find me? I never stopped looking. 28 years, $40 million, hundreds of investigators. Then 6 months ago, one of them found your sealed file. Your real name, your real birthday. Everything the system tried to hide. Tears streamed down Elena's face. I thought nobody wanted me. I thought I was just another throwaway orphan. Never. James gripped her hand. You were wanted every single day. Loved every single day. Searched for every single day. I never gave up. Never. Why did this happen? Who took me? Who killed my mother? James's expression darkened. Victor Ross. Who? My CFO for 30 years, my trusted advisor, my so-called friend. James's voice turned to steel. He was always a snake. Always plotting. Always waiting. I don't understand. Victor wanted the company. But as long as Grace lived, as long as you existed, he could never have it. Blackwood shares passed to direct descendants, so Victor eliminated the problem. Elena's blood ran cold. He killed my mother. Yes. He arranged the accident. He paid someone to fake your death certificate. He paid someone in child services to bury you so deep you'd never be found. Then he waited. Waited for what? For me to die. James smiled bitterly. I have terminal cancer. Weeks left at most. Victor's been circling like a vulture, waiting to finally take what he murdered for. Elena's hands clenched into fists. But I found you first. James's eyes blazed. I found you before he could win. And now everything changes. What do you mean? I'm leaving you everything, Elena. Blackwood Pharmaceuticals, the real estate, the investments, all of it. $52 billion, complete control of the company. Elena's head spun. I don't know how to run a company. I was a waitress this morning. I can't. You are my daughter. James's voice was firm. You have your mother's intelligence, my determination, and you'll have help. David will guide you. Margaret will protect you. Rachel will keep you safe. This morning I was married. This morning I was normal. This morning you were living a lie. James cut her off. Tonight you learned the truth. You are not Elena Price, unwanted orphan. You are Elena Grace Blackwood, heir to an empire, and the woman who will make Victor Ross pay for everything. Elena stared at her father. They threw me away tonight, she said quietly. My husband's family. They threw champagne in my face. They called me garbage. They tossed me into the snow like trash. I know, David told me. They said I was worthless. They said I was nothing. They were fools, James leaned forward. And Elena, there's something else you need to know about them. What? 5 years ago, Victor needed to move money without raising suspicion. He needed a legitimate business to funnel it through. James paused. He chose Whitmore Holdings. Elena stopped breathing. Richard Whitmore took $2 million from Victor Ross, payment for helping cover up your mother's murder. No. The family that just humiliated you. The family that threw champagne in your face. The family that called you street rat and garbage. They've been connected to your mother's death for 5 years. They took blood money from the man who killed her. Elena shot to her feet. Her whole body was shaking. I want them destroyed. Her voice was ice. All of them. Victor and the Whitmores. I want them to lose everything. I want them to suffer. I want them to know exactly who they threw away. James smiled. Pride filled his eyes. Then let's begin. He pressed a button. The door opened. David entered with an older woman. Silver hair, sharp eyes, a warrior's posture. Elena, this is Margaret. Your mother's closest friend. She's protected this family for 30 years. Margaret stepped forward and took Elena's hands. You look so much like Grace. Her voice caught. So much. She would be so proud of you. And Elena squeezed her hands. Help me. Help me learn everything. Help me make them pay. Margaret's eyes hardened. I've been waiting 28 years for someone to say those words. Victor thinks he's won, James said. He thinks I'll die and he'll take everything. He has no idea you exist. Good. Elena's voice was steel. I want it to stay that way, until I'm ready. The board meeting is in 3 weeks. Victor plans to announce his takeover the day after I die. James coughed weakly. But my will is already filed. The shares transfer to you automatically. Legally, there's nothing he can do. He'll fight it, David said. He'll claim fraud. He'll claim you were coerced. He'll do everything possible to invalidate the inheritance. Let him try. Elena's eyes burned. I'll be ready. Margaret stepped closer. There's more you need to know about the Whitmores. Tell me. Their company is drowning in debt. Richard has been hiding it for years. He took Victor's money to stay afloat. But it wasn't enough. They're 3 months away from bankruptcy. Nobody knows nobody. Richard has been cooking the books. Marcus has no idea his inheritance is worthless. Elena smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. So when I take everything from them, they'll have nothing to fall back on. Nothing, Margaret confirmed. They'll lose the houses, the cars, the status, everything. Good. James reached for Elena's hand. I wish I had more time. I wish I could be there to see Victor's face when he realizes he lost. When the Whitmores realize who they threw away. You'll see it. Elena knelt beside him again. You'll see all of it, I promise you. I believe you. James touched her face one more time. My daughter. My Elena. My miracle. The clock on the wall showed 3 a.m. Outside, the snow had stopped. The first day of the new year had begun. Elena looked at her father, at David, at Margaret. Teach me everything, she said. Every detail of the company. Every secret Victor is hiding. Every weakness the Whitmores have. Teach me how to destroy them all. James smiled. It would be my honor. Elena stood and walked to the window. The city sparkled below. 3 hours ago, she had been thrown into the snow with $300 and a broken heart. Now she was heir to $52 billion and a legacy of revenge. The Whitmores were sleeping right now, dreaming of their perfect lives, laughing about the street rat they had discarded. They had no idea what was coming. They had no idea who they had just created. Elena touched the cold glass. Happy New Year to me, she whispered. And nightmare year to you. 3 weeks. That was all the time Elena had. James spent every waking hour teaching her. The company structure, the board members, the allies and the enemies, the secrets Victor had buried. Victor controls 5 board members. James said, his voice weaker than yesterday. He's been bribing them for years. Martin Cross, Helen Drake, Samuel Webb, Patricia Dunn, and Thomas Chen. Thomas Chen. Elena looked at David. Your family? David's jaw tightened. My uncle. He betrayed us years ago, chose money over blood. Can we flip any of them? Helen Drake. Margaret stepped forward. She's been having second thoughts. Victor has photos of her with a man who isn't her husband. That's how he controls her. Get me those photos, Elena said. If we destroy his leverage, we get her vote. James smiled weakly. You're learning fast. I don't have time to learn slow. The door opened. A woman walked in. Late 30s, athletic build, eyes that scanned every corner of the room in 2 seconds. Elena, this is Rachel Santos. James gestured. Head of security. The best in the business. I hired her 4 years ago specifically for this moment. Rachel nodded at Elena. I've been watching Victor for 4 years. Building a case. Gathering evidence. What do you have, the signed financial records showing $890 million funneled to offshore accounts? Shell companies in the Cayman, Switzerland, Singapore. All traceable back to Victor. That's enough to put him in prison. For the embezzlement, yes. But not for your mother's murder. Rachel's expression hardened. He covered those tracks too well. I've found circumstantial evidence. Payments to suspicious accounts around the time of the accident, but nothing that would hold up in court. Elena's fists clenched. Then we destroy him financially first. Take away everything he's stolen. Then we find the proof. There's something else. Rachel pulled out a tablet. I've been monitoring the Whitmores since David identified the connection. Richard Whitmore had a meeting with Victor yesterday. Elena's blood went cold. Yesterday, what about? I don't have audio, but I have photos. Rachel showed her the screen. Victor handed Richard an envelope. Richard looked terrified, then relieved. Then he shook Victor's hand. More money. Probably, or instructions. Rachel swiped to another photo. But here's what's interesting. Marcus was there too. Elena stared at the image. Her ex-husband, standing beside Victor Ross, the man who killed her mother. Marcus knows, she said quietly. Maybe. Or maybe Richard is keeping him in the dark. Rachel put the tablet away. Either way, the Whitmores are in deeper than we thought. James coughed violently. Margaret rushed to his side with water. I'm fine, he gasped. I'm fine. We don't have time to worry about me. Dad. The word came out before Elena could stop it. It was the first time she had called him that. James's eyes filled with tears. Say it again. Dad? Elena took his hand. We're going to finish this. Together. James squeezed her fingers weakly. I know we will. I know. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She wandered through the house until she found herself in front of a door she hadn't opened before. Your mother's study, Margaret appeared behind her. James hasn't let anyone inside since she died. Can I? Margaret handed her a key. He wanted you to have this. He said you'd find your way here eventually. Elena opened the door. Everything inside had been preserved exactly as Grace left it. Her desk, her books, her photographs, 28 years of dust and grief. Elena walked to the desk and sat in her mother's chair. A photograph sat in a silver frame. Grace and James on their wedding day, both of them glowing with happiness. You were beautiful, Elena whispered, and he loved you so much. She opened the desk drawer. Inside was a leather journal. Grace's handwriting on the first page. For my daughter, for Elena Grace, for the day she finally comes home. Elena's hands shook as she turned the pages. Her mother had written to her, every day of her pregnancy, letters to the daughter she would never get to raise. Today you kicked for the first time. Your father cried, I've never seen him so happy. Today I dreamed about your face. You have my eyes and his determination. You're going to change the world. Today I'm scared. Something feels wrong. Victor has been acting strange. I told James, but he trusts him too much. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm just being paranoid. Elena turned to the last entry, dated the day before Grace died. I found something. Financial records that don't make sense. Money moving to accounts that shouldn't exist. I'm going to confront Victor tomorrow. James deserves to know the truth about his friend. I pray I'm wrong. But if I'm right, if Victor has been stealing from us, I don't know what James will do. I just know I have to protect this family. I have to protect you, my darling Elena, whatever it takes. Elena closed the journal. Tears streamed down her face. Her mother had known. She had discovered Victor's betrayal, and Victor had killed her for it. He murdered her because she found out. Elena's voice was barely a whisper. She was going to expose him, so he silenced her. She stood up abruptly. The chair fell backward. Margaret. Margaret rushed in. What is it? What's wrong? Elena held up the journal. My mother knew. She found evidence against Victor the day before she died. She wrote it all here. Margaret's face went pale. She never told anyone. She never had the chance. The evidence might still exist, whatever she found. It has to be somewhere. Victor would have destroyed it. Maybe not. Elena's mind was racing. He didn't know she found anything. He thought it was just a car accident, a tragic coincidence. He might not have known to look. After 28 years, where would we even start? Elena looked around the study, at the bookshelves, the filing cabinets, the stacks of papers Grace had left behind. Here, we start here. We start. My mother was a researcher. She documented everything. If she found evidence, she would have made copies. She would have hidden them somewhere safe. Elena, I've been in this room 100 times. James had it searched after... He was looking for memories. We're looking for secrets. Elena pulled open a filing cabinet. Help me, please. They searched for 6 hours. At 4 a.m., Elena found it. A false bottom in a desk drawer. Underneath a manila envelope sealed with tape. Inside were copies, bank statements, transfer records, account numbers. Everything her mother had discovered about Victor's embezzlement. And one more thing. A photograph. Victor Ross standing beside a man Elena didn't recognize. Both of them smiling, both of them holding glasses of champagne. On the back, Grace had written, Victor and Edward Kane, old friends, business partners, investigate. Who is Edward Kane? Elena asked. Margaret looked at the photograph. Her face went white. Edward Kane was a mechanic. He specialized in car repairs. Elena's stomach dropped. Car repairs? He died 3 months after your mother. Drug overdose. Very convenient. Victor hired him to sabotage the brakes. And then killed him to cover his tracks. Margaret's voice shook. Your mother figured it out. She was so close. One more day and she would have had everything. Elena stared at the photograph. Now I have everything. 28 years late, but I have it. She put all the evidence back in the envelope. We tell no one, not even David. Not until we're ready to use it. You don't trust David. I don't trust anyone except you and Rachel. Elena met Margaret's eyes. And my father. That's the list. That's where it ends. Margaret nodded slowly. Your mother would be proud of you. My mother would want Victor dead. Elena's voice was ice. I'm going to give her the next best thing. James died 9 days later. Elena was holding his hand when it happened. He had been drifting in and out of consciousness for 2 days. The doctor said it could be any moment. Elena. His voice was barely audible. My beautiful girl. I'm here, Dad. I'm right here. Did you find it? The evidence your mother left? How did you know? James smiled weakly. I knew Grace. She never left anything to chance. I knew she would have left something behind. I just never knew where to look. I found it. Everything. Victor's going to pay. Good. James's grip tightened slightly. But Elena, promise me something. Anything. Don't let revenge consume you. Destroy Victor. Destroy the Whitmores. But don't lose yourself in the process. He coughed. Your mother was the best person I ever knew. She had your fire, but she also had compassion. Grace, be like her. I promise. And one more thing. James pulled her closer. The company, the money, the power, none of it matters if you're alone. Find people you can trust. Build a family. A real family. I have you. You'll always have me. Tears ran down his weathered cheeks. Even when I'm gone, I'll be watching. I'll be proud. Every single day. Dad, please. Don't go, not yet. I just found you. 28 years. James smiled through his tears. I searched 28 years to find you. And these 3 weeks with you have been worth every moment of pain, every moment of loneliness, every moment of despair. His eyes began to close. I love you, Elena Grace. I loved you before you were born. I loved you every day you were gone. I'll love you forever. I love you too. Dad, I love you too. James Blackwood died with his daughter's hand in his and a smile on his face. He had found his miracle. He could finally rest. Elena didn't cry at the funeral. She stood at the front of the church in a black dress, accepting condolences from hundreds of people she had never met. Board members, business partners, politicians, celebrities. Everyone wanted to shake the hand of James Blackwood's secret daughter. Victor Ross was among them. Miss Blackwood. He took her hand with both of his. I am so deeply sorry for your loss. James was like a brother to me. Elena looked into the eyes of the man who had killed her mother, the man who had stolen her childhood, the man who had been waiting 30 years to steal her inheritance. Thank you, Mr. Ross. My father spoke very highly of you. Victor smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. I'm sure this is all very overwhelming. Finding out about your inheritance, the company, the responsibility. If you ever need guidance, I'm here to help. That's very kind. In fact, I think we should meet soon. Discuss the transition. The board has some concerns about the future of the company. His grip tightened slightly. A young woman with no business experience taking over a $52 billion corporation. You can understand their worry. I understand perfectly. Elena smiled back. Let's meet next week. I'm sure we have a lot to discuss. Excellent. Victor released her hand. Monday, my office, 10 a.m. I'll be there. Victor walked away. Rachel appeared at Elena's side. He's already making his move. I know. Let him. Elena watched Victor work the room. The more confident he feels, the harder he'll fall. The board meeting is in 2 weeks. He's going to try to force a vote of no confidence before then. Then we need to move faster. Elena turned to Rachel. Helen Drake. Where is she? Third pew from the back alone. She's been avoiding Victor all morning. Good. Time to have a conversation. Elena made her way through the crowd. Helen Drake saw her coming and tensed. Mrs. Drake, thank you for coming. Miss Blackwood. Helen's voice was nervous. I'm so sorry about your father. He was a good man. He was, and he trusted you. Helen flinched. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. Elena's voice dropped low. I know about the photos. I know Victor has been blackmailing you. And I know you hate every minute of it. Helen's face went pale. How did you? My father kept detailed records. He knew everything that happened in his company. Elena leaned closer. I'm not here to threaten you. I'm here to offer you a way out. There is no way out. Victor has those photos. If they go public, my marriage is over. My reputation is destroyed. What if the photos disappeared? Helen stared at her. That's impossible. Victor keeps them in a safe. Digital copies on an encrypted server. There's no way to... I have people who can get to anything. Elena met her eyes. Help me take down Victor and those photos vanish forever. Your secret stays a secret. Your marriage survives. And you get to stop being a puppet. Why would you help me? I voted against your father dozens of times. I've been Victor's tool for years. Because my father believed in second chances, and because I need allies. And Elena pulled back. Think about it. You have until Monday to decide. She walked away before Helen could respond. Rachel fell into step beside her. That was risky. She could warn Victor. She won't. She's terrified of him. And now she's seen an alternative. Elena kept walking. Besides, I was telling the truth. My father did keep records, and those photos are going to disappear no matter what she decides. How? You're going to steal them. Rachel raised an eyebrow. When? Tonight. Victor will be at the reception for hours. His office will be empty, his home will be empty. Elena smiled coldly. Time to find out exactly what other secrets he's been hiding. The reception lasted until midnight. Victor drank too much. He laughed too loud. He played the role of grieving friend while his eyes calculated how to steal a dead man's empire. Elena watched him the whole time, memorizing his patterns, his weaknesses, his tells. At 11 p.m., her phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. I'm in. You're going to want to see this. At 2 a.m., Elena met Rachel at a warehouse outside the city. What did you find? Rachel spread files across a metal table. Everything. 20 years of Victor's secrets. Hidden accounts, bribery payments, fraudulent contracts. Elena scanned the documents. This is enough to put him away for life. That's not all. Rachel pulled out another folder. I found a file labeled contingency. Inside were documents for a hostile takeover, fake evidence showing your father was mentally incompetent in his final days, forged signatures, fabricated medical reports. He was going to claim my father didn't know what he was doing when he left me the company. Yes, and there's more. Rachel's voice tightened. There's a second contingency plan, in case the first one failed. What is it? Rachel hesitated. A contract. Dated 3 days ago. Payment to an unnamed party for services to be rendered upon confirmation of inheritance. Elena's blood went cold. He hired someone to kill me. The payment hasn't gone through yet. He's waiting to see if the legal challenge works first. So I have until the board meeting. Elena's voice was steady. If he can't steal the company legally, he'll just remove me permanently. We need to go to the police. No, not yet. Elena picked up the contract. If we go now, he'll claim the documents are forged. He has lawyers who can drag this out for years. By then, the company will be destroyed, and I'll probably be dead anyway. Then what do we do? Elena looked at the evidence spread across the table. 20 years of crimes, hundreds of victims, one murderer. We expose him publicly. At the board meeting, in front of everyone, on camera, live. That's insane. He'll see it coming. Not if we give him something else to focus on. Elena smiled. Victor thinks I'm a scared little orphan who doesn't know anything about business. He thinks he can manipulate me, control me, push me out. And I'm going to let him think he's winning, right up until the moment I destroy him. Monday morning arrived. Elena walked into Victor's office exactly at 10. He was waiting behind his desk, smiling, confident. Miss Blackwood, please sit down. Elena sat. Thank you for meeting with me, Mr. Ross. Please call me Victor. He leaned forward. We're going to be working closely together. No need for formality. Of course, Victor. Now let's talk about the future of this company. Victor steepled his fingers. Your father was a great man, but he was also old, sick. His judgment in recent months was questionable. Questionable how, well, leaving a $52 billion company to a woman he'd only known for 3 weeks. A woman with no education, no experience, no qualifications whatsoever. Victor shook his head sadly. The board has concerns. Serious concerns. I see. Don't misunderstand me. No one questions your father's love for you. But love and business don't mix. The shareholders are nervous. The stock price is dropping. We need stability. What are you suggesting? Victor pulled out a document and slid it across the desk. A simple solution. You retain the title of owner. The inheritance stays in your name, but the actual running of the company falls to a management committee, led by me. Elena looked at the document. So I get the name and you get the power. I prefer to think of it as a partnership. You learn the business. I keep things running smoothly. In a few years, maybe you're ready to take a more active role. Victor smiled. It's the smart move, Elena, the safe move. Elena picked up the document. She read it carefully. Then she tore it in half. No. Victor's smile froze. I'm sorry. No. I won't sign away control of my father's company to the man who's been stealing from it for 20 years. The temperature in the room dropped. That's a serious accusation. Victor's voice had lost all warmth, and completely unfounded. Is it? Elena stood up. $890 million, Victor, funneled through shell companies in the Caymans, Switzerland, and Singapore. I have the account numbers, I have the transfer records, I have everything. Victor's face went pale, then red, then pale again. Your father trusted me. My father never knew, but my mother did. Elena leaned across the desk. She found out, the day before she died. She was going to expose you, so you killed her. Victor shot to his feet. You don't know what you're talking about. I know everything. Edward Kane, the brake tampering, the convenient overdose 3 months later. Elena's voice was pure ice. I have evidence linking you to all of it. Evidence can be fabricated, forged, manipulated. Victor's composure was cracking. No one will believe the ravings of a traumatized orphan. Psych. They'll believe the testimony of Helen Drake, and Martin Cross, and every other board member you've been blackmailing for years. Elena smiled. Did you think I came here unprepared? Did you think I was just a scared little girl? Victor stared at her. For the first time, she saw fear in his eyes. What do you want? I want you to watch your empire crumble. I want you to feel what my father felt when he thought he lost everything. Elena turned toward the door. The board meeting is in 2 weeks. I suggest you use that time to find a good lawyer. You're going to need one. She walked out without looking back. Victor stood alone in his office. His hands were shaking. He pulled out his phone and dialed. It's me. We have a problem. The girl knows everything. He listened. No, the legal route won't work anymore. We need to move to the contingency plan. He paused. Yes. Do it before the board meeting. Make it look like an accident. He hung up and stared out the window. You should have taken the deal, little girl. Now you're going to end up just like your mother. Rachel was waiting when Elena returned to the mansion. How did it go? He's scared. Elena walked past her into the study. Scared enough to make mistakes, scared enough to act rashly. That's what worries me. Rachel followed her. Scared men are dangerous men. He's been dangerous for 30 years. The difference is now he knows we're coming. Margaret entered with a phone in her hand. Helen Drake just called. She wants to meet tonight. Good. She's made her decision. Elena. Rachel stepped in front of her. Victor isn't going to just sit there and wait for the board meeting. He's going to move against you. I know. Then you know we need to increase security. You shouldn't go anywhere alone. You shouldn't. I know, Rachel. Elena met her eyes. I've known since I walked into his office. Victor Ross doesn't lose gracefully. He eliminates problems. And right now you're his biggest problem. Exactly. Elena sat down at her father's desk. Which is why we need to be ready when he makes his move. You're using yourself as bait. I'm using his arrogance against him. Victor thinks he's untouchable. He thinks he's smarter than everyone else. That's his weakness. Rachel shook her head. This is too risky. Your father asked me to protect you, not watch you walk into a trap. My father also asked you to help me destroy Victor. Elena's voice softened. I'm not being reckless, Rachel. I'm being strategic. There's a difference. Is there? Victor has been planning this for 30 years. He killed my mother. He stole my childhood. He embezzled nearly $1 billion. And he did it all while pretending to be my father's best friend. Elena's hands clenched. I've had 3 weeks. 3 weeks to learn everything he spent 30 years hiding. The only advantage I have is that he underestimates me. And if he stops underestimating you, then we improvise. Rachel stared at her for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. Fine, but we do this my way. I pick the meeting location with Helen. I control the security, and you wear a tracker at all times. Agreed. And one more thing, Rachel pulled out her phone. I've been monitoring Victor's communications since last night. He made a call right after you left his office. To who? Unknown number, burner phone. But I got enough to run a voice analysis. Rachel's expression darkened. The person he called has connections to organized crime, specifically contract killings. Elena's blood chilled, but she kept her voice steady. How long do we have? Based on similar contracts, they usually take 48 to 72 hours to plan. They'll want to make it look like an accident. That means surveillance first. Learning your patterns. So we have 2 days. Maybe less. Elena stood up. Then we don't have time to waste. Set up the meeting with Helen, tonight. And Rachel. Yes. Find out who Victor called. I want a name, I want an address, I want everything. I'm already on it. The meeting with Helen Drake happened at 9 p.m. in a private room at a restaurant Elena had never been to before. Rachel had swept it for bugs twice. Helen was already there when Elena arrived. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Miss Blackwood, thank you for meeting me. Thank you for coming. Elena sat across from her. Have you made a decision? Helen's hands trembled as she reached for her water glass. I've been working for Victor for 12 years, doing whatever he asked, voting however he wanted, lying to people I respected. I know. He has photos of me with another man, a mistake I made 8 years ago. One night, one stupid, terrible night. Helen's voice cracked. He's been holding it over me ever since. I can make those photos disappear. So you said. Helen looked up. But why should I trust you? You're James Blackwood's daughter. You have every reason to hate me. I have every reason to hate Victor. You're just another one of his victims. I'm not a victim. I made choices. I let him control me because I was too afraid to face the consequences. Fear makes people do terrible things. Elena leaned forward. But it's not too late to make different choices. Helen was silent for a long moment. What do you need from me? Information. Everything you know about Victor's plans, his allies on the board, his backup strategies. And in return, the photos are destroyed, your secret stays buried, and when this is over, you keep your seat on the board with a clean slate. Helen closed her eyes. When she opened them, there were tears. Victor is planning to challenge your inheritance at the board meeting. He has a doctor who's willing to testify that your father was mentally incompetent when he changed his will. I know about that. But there's more. Helen lowered her voice. He's also been talking to Richard Whitmore, your ex-husband's father. Elena's jaw tightened. About what? I don't know the details, but I heard Victor mention something about the original arrangement, and Richard looked terrified. The original arrangement. Elena's mind raced. When Victor paid them to help cover up my mother's murder. I don't know anything about that. Helen's eyes widened. Murder Victor killed someone? My mother, 28 years ago. Helen's face went white. Oh my God. The Whitmores took money to help him hide it. $2 million, blood money. I had no idea. I swear I had no idea. I believe you. Elena studied Helen's face. But I need more. Victor is moving against me. Probably within the next 48 hours. I need to know everything. Helen nodded shakily. There's a meeting tomorrow. Victor called an emergency session with his loyal board members. I'm supposed to be there. What time? Noon. At Victor's private residence. I need you to go. I need you to listen. And I need you to tell me everything that happens. If Victor finds out, he won't. And even if he suspects, you'll be protected. I promise. Helen took a deep breath. Okay, I'll do it. Thank you, Helen. Don't thank me yet. Helen stood to leave. I've done terrible things for that man. This doesn't make us even. No, but it's a start. Helen left. Rachel emerged from the shadows. You trust her? I trust that she's more afraid of Victor than she is of me. For now, that's enough. The meeting tomorrow. We need ears inside. Helen is our ears. Helen is terrified and unreliable. We need backup. Elena considered. Can you get someone inside Victor's house? I already have someone. Rachel smiled slightly. His housekeeper, Maria. She's been feeding me information for 2 years. Victor's own housekeeper. Her daughter needed surgery. Victor's insurance denied the claim. I paid for it anonymously. Maria has been very grateful ever since. Elena shook her head. My father chose well when he hired you. Your father taught me everything I know about loyalty. Rachel's expression softened. He saved my life once, a long time ago. I would have done anything for him. And now I'll do anything for you. The next morning, Elena received a delivery. A single white rose in a black box. No card. No return address. Rachel intercepted it before Elena could touch it. Don't. She examined the box carefully. It's a message. Victor's telling you he knows where you live. Or it's the killer, letting me know I'm being watched. Either way, we need to move. Now. No. Elena. If I run, Victor wins. If I hide, he controls the narrative. Elena looked at the rose. We stay. We prepare. And we make sure when they come for me, they find more than they bargained for. Rachel's phone buzzed. She read the message and her expression changed. Maria just sent word. The meeting at Victor's started early, and there's a guest. Who? Marcus Whitmore. Elena's heart stopped. Marcus? Not Richard. Marcus. He arrived 20 minutes ago. Victor greeted him personally. Why would Victor invite Marcus? Richard is the one with the business connection. I don't know, but Maria says they went into Victor's private study. Alone. Elena's mind raced. Marcus had been at the previous meeting with his father and Victor. But this was different. This was just Marcus. Just Victor. Get me audio. Maria can't risk. I don't care about the risk. I need to know what they're saying. Now. Rachel hesitated. Then she made a call. 20 minutes later, her phone buzzed again, this time with an audio file. Elena pressed play. Victor's voice came through first. You understand what I'm asking, Marcus's voice. Her ex-husband, the man who had thrown her into the snow. I understand. But why me? You have people who do this kind of thing. Because you have access. You have history, and most importantly, you have motive. Motive. She humiliated you, Marcus. She rejected the settlement offer. She's been telling everyone who will listen that the Whitmores are connected to something terrible. Your family's reputation is being destroyed. Silence. Then Marcus spoke again. What exactly do you want me to do? I want you to get close to her. Apologize. Beg for forgiveness. Tell her you made a terrible mistake. She'll never believe that. She's alone, Marcus. Her father just died. She has no friends, no family. Deep down, she's still that scared little orphan who just wants someone to love her. Victor's voice dripped contempt. Give her what she wants. Make her trust you. And then you let my people handle the rest. Elena stopped the recording. Her hands were shaking. Rachel watched her carefully. Are you okay? He's trying to use Marcus to get to me. Elena's voice was barely controlled. He thinks I'm so desperate for love that I'll take back the man who threw champagne in my face. It's not a bad plan, from his perspective. No, it's not. Elena looked up. Which is why we're going to use it against him. What do you mean? Victor wants Marcus to get close to me. Fine, let him try. A cold smile crossed Elena's face. But when Marcus comes crawling back, I'm going to be ready. And everything he tells Victor will be exactly what I want Victor to hear. You're going to feed them false information. I'm going to make them think they're winning, right up until the moment they lose everything. That afternoon, Marcus called. Elena let it ring 4 times before answering. Hello. Elena. His voice was soft, humble, nothing like the cold cruelty of New Year's Eve. Please don't hang up. Give me one reason why I shouldn't. Because I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. Marcus took a shaky breath. What my family did to you was unforgivable. What I did was unforgivable. I've hated myself every day since. Is that so? I was weak. I let my mother control me. I let my father's expectations blind me. His voice cracked convincingly. But when I heard about your father, about who you really are, I realized how wrong I was. You mean you realized I'm worth $52 billion? That's not what this is about. Isn't it? No. Marcus paused. I loved you, Elena. I know you don't believe that. I know I didn't show it. But I did. And I threw it away because I was a coward. Elena let the silence stretch. What do you want, Marcus? I want a chance to apologize. In person. I want to explain what happened. Why my family did what they did. I already know why. Money, status, the same reasons your family does everything. There's more to it than that. Marcus lowered his voice. There are things you don't know. Things my father has been hiding. Things that involve your father's company. Elena's pulse quickened. He was dangling bait, trying to hook her curiosity. What kind of things? I can't say over the phone, it's too dangerous. Marcus sounded genuinely frightened. Please, Elena, just meet me. 1 hour. That's all I ask. Elena pretended to hesitate. Fine. 1 hour, tomorrow. The coffee shop on Madison and 52nd, noon. Thank you. Thank you, Elena. You won't regret this. I hope not. For your sake. She hung up. Rachel stepped forward immediately. That was a performance. From both of us. Elena set down the phone. He's fishing. Victor told him to find out what I know. And you're going to tell him exactly what you want Victor to hear. I'm going to tell him I'm scared, overwhelmed, that I don't know what I'm doing, that I'm thinking about taking Victor's deal after all. Victor will think he's winning. Victor will get sloppy. He'll call off whatever attack he's planning because he thinks Marcus is handling it. That buys us time. And Marcus is going to report back exactly what I tell him. And when this is over, he's going to discover that he helped me destroy Victor without even knowing it. Rachel shook her head slowly. You're not the same person you were a month ago. No. Elena looked at her reflection in the window. That person died on New Year's Eve. This is who she became. The next day, Elena met Marcus at the coffee shop. He was already there when she arrived, looking nervous, looking guilty, looking like the perfect picture of a repentant husband. Elena. He stood when she approached. Thank you for coming. Sit down, Marcus, he sat. She sat across from him. You said you have information about my father's company. Right to business. Marcus smiled weakly. You've changed. Finding out your entire life was a lie will do that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you said that already. What information? Marcus leaned closer. My father has been working with Victor Ross for years. I didn't know until recently. He kept me out of everything. What kind of work? Money, moving money. Victor needed ways to hide his tracks, and my father's company provided cover. I know about the $2 million. Marcus's face went pale. You know about that. I know everything, Marcus. The question is, what do you know? I know my father is terrified. Victor has been pressuring him for weeks, ever since you showed up. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. My father made a deal with the devil, and now the devil is calling in favors. What kind of favors? I don't know. He won't tell me. But whatever it is, it's eating him alive. Elena filed this away. Richard Whitmore was scared. That could be useful. Why are you telling me this? Because I want out. Marcus's voice dropped. I want out of my family's mess. I want to start over. And I thought maybe what? Maybe I'd take you back. Maybe we'd ride off into the sunset together. No, I know that's not possible. Marcus looked down. I just thought maybe you could help me. You're powerful now. You could protect me from whatever's coming. Elena let the silence stretch. I'm not as powerful as everyone thinks, she said finally. Victor has the board in his pocket. He has lawyers, resources, connections. I'm barely holding on. Marcus looked up sharply. What do you mean? I mean I'm scared, Marcus. Elena let her voice tremble slightly. I inherited a war I didn't ask for. My father died before he could teach me how to fight it. And now Victor is circling like a shark. But you have evidence against him. You told him you knew everything. I was bluffing. Elena shook her head. I have suspicions, theories, but nothing concrete. Nothing that would hold up in court. Marcus's eyes flickered. Processing. Calculating. So what are you going to do? I don't know. Maybe take Victor's deal after all. Give up control in exchange for safety. You'd do that? What choice do I have? I'm alone, Marcus. I have no one. My father's people say they're loyal, but how do I know Victor's had 30 years to plant spies? Anyone could be working for him. Marcus reached across the table and took her hand. You're not alone. I'm here. Elena looked at him. At the man who had thrown her away like garbage. At the man who is now pretending to care because Victor Ross told him to. Thank you, she said softly. That means a lot. I'll help you however I can. Whatever you need. I need time. Time to think. Time to figure out what to do. Take all the time you need. Marcus squeezed her hand. I'm not going anywhere. Elena pulled away gently. I should go. But Marcus, don't tell anyone we met. Not your father. Not anyone. If Victor finds out I'm considering backing down, he might push harder before I'm ready to surrender. I won't say a word. Marcus stood as she stood. Elena, I really am sorry. For everything. I know. She gave him a sad smile. Goodbye, Marcus. She walked out without looking back. Rachel was waiting in the car. How did it go? He bought it, hook, line, and sinker. Elena's expression hardened. By tonight, Victor will think I'm ready to give up. He'll relax. He'll call off his attack dog. And the board meeting. In 9 days. 9 days to finish gathering evidence. 9 days to flip more board members. 9 days to prepare the final trap. What about the Whitmores? Richard is scared. Victor has been pressuring him, which means Victor needs something from him. Elena's eyes narrowed. Something he hasn't gotten yet. What could Richard possibly have that Victor needs? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. That night, Elena went through her mother's files again. The photograph of Victor and Edward Kane, the financial records, the transfer documents. And then she found something she had missed before. A list of names. 6 names. Handwritten by her mother. Victor Ross, Edward Kane, Richard Whitmore, and 3 others she didn't recognize. Beneath the names, one word, witnesses. Elena's heart pounded. Margaret! Margaret rushed in. What is it? These names. Elena held up the paper. Who are these people? Margaret looked at the list. Her face went pale. I recognize one of them. Peter Novak. He was a mechanic at the garage where your mother's car was serviced. He died 6 months after your mother. Car accident. Elena's stomach turned. And the other 2? I don't know, but I can find out. Do it. Tonight. 3 hours later, Margaret returned with the information. Thomas Wright. He was a nurse at the hospital where you were supposedly pronounced dead. He died 4 months after your mother. Overdose. And the last name? Linda Chen. She was a social worker. She processed the paperwork that put you in the foster system. Margaret's voice shook. She died 2 years after your mother. Hit and run, driver never found. Elena stared at the list. 6 names. Her mother had identified 6 people connected to Victor's conspiracy. 4 of them were dead, murdered to keep them quiet. 2 remained alive, Victor Ross and Richard Whitmore. Richard is the last witness, Elena said slowly. The last person who can connect Victor to my mother's murder. That's why Victor needs him, and that's why Victor is pressuring him. He wants Richard to keep quiet, to never testify. Or worse. Margaret's eyes met Elena's. He wants Richard to take the fall if anything goes wrong. Elena understood now. Victor had been playing a long game, eliminating witnesses one by one, building layers of protection, and keeping Richard Whitmore as his insurance policy. If Victor was ever exposed, Richard would be blamed for everything. The fall guy, the patsy. Richard doesn't know he's disposable, Elena said. He thinks Victor is his partner, his protector. When really Victor's been planning to sacrifice him for 30 years. Elena looked at the list of names again, at the people who had died protecting Victor's secrets, at the conspiracy that had stolen her mother's life and her entire childhood. I need to talk to Richard Whitmore. That's insane. He'll warn Victor. Not if I show him the truth. Elena's voice hardened. Not if I show him he's next on Victor's list. You'd make a deal with the man who helped cover up your mother's murder. I'd make a deal with the devil himself if it meant bringing Victor down. Margaret stared at her for a long moment. Your mother was the same way. Once she decided something, nothing could stop her. Look where that got her. It got her killed. Margaret stepped closer. Don't make the same mistake. Don't rush in without a plan. I have a plan. Elena folded the list and put it in her pocket. I have 8 days to execute it. And when I'm done, Victor Ross will lose everything he murdered for. And the Whitmores... Elena's expression went cold. The Whitmores will wish they had never heard my name. Elena found Richard Whitmore at his office the next morning. She walked past his secretary without stopping. "You can't go in there." The woman jumped up. "Mr. Whitmore is in a meeting." Elena pushed open the door. Richard was sitting behind his desk, alone. No meeting. Just a man staring at a glass of whiskey at 9 in the morning. He looked up when she entered. His face went gray. "Elena." "Richard." She closed the door behind her. "We need to talk." "How did you get past security?" "I own the building across the street. I walked through the connecting tunnel." Elena sat down across from him. "You really should review your property records more carefully." Richard's hand trembled as he set down his glass. "What do you want?" "The truth." "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do." Elena pulled out the photograph of Victor and Edward Kane. She slid it across the desk. "You know exactly what I'm talking about." Richard stared at the photograph. The color drained from his face completely. "Where did you get this?" "My mother kept records, very detailed records." Elena leaned forward. "She knew everything, Richard. She knew about Victor's embezzlement. She knew about the fake accounts. And she knew about you." "I had nothing to do with..." "You took $2 million to help cover up her murder. You helped Victor bury me in the foster system. You've been protecting him for 30 years. Richard shot to his feet. "Keep your voice down." "Why, afraid someone might hear." Elena didn't flinch. "Afraid Victor might find out you're talking to me." Richard's hands were shaking badly now. He picked up his whiskey and drained it in one gulp. "You don't understand." "Then explain it to me." "I didn't know..." Richard's voice cracked. "I didn't know what Victor had done. Not at first. He told me he needed help moving some money. Said it was a tax issue. Nothing illegal." "And you believed him?" "I was young, stupid, desperate." Richard slumped back into his chair. "My company was failing. Victor offered a lifeline. By the time I realized what he'd really done, it was too late. Too late because you were already complicit. He had evidence, records of every transaction. If I talked, I'd go to prison." Richard rubbed his face with both hands. And then the others started dying. Peter, Thomas, Linda, one by one. All accidents, all convenient. "You knew Victor was killing them." "I suspected, but I couldn't prove anything." Richard looked up at her with haunted eyes. "And I was terrified I'd be next." Elena studied him. The fear in his eyes was genuine. The trembling was real. Richard Whitmore wasn't a monster. He was a coward who had made a deal with a monster and spent 30 years regretting it. "You're still on Victor's list," she said quietly. "You know that, right?" "What do you mean, you're the last witness? The only person left who can connect Victor to my mother's death. As long as you're alive, you're a liability." Richard's face went white. "He wouldn't. I've been loyal. I've done everything he asked. He killed 4 people to protect himself. What makes you think you're special?" "Because I have insurance." Richard's voice dropped. "I have copies of everything. Financial records, communications, proof of every payment Victor ever made through my company. If anything happens to me, it all goes public." Elena felt her pulse quicken. "Where?" "Safe deposit box. My lawyer has instructions." Richard laughed bitterly. "Mutually assured destruction. It's the only thing keeping me alive." "That's why Victor has been pressuring you. He wants those documents. He's been demanding I destroy them. Says we don't need insurance anymore. Says everything is under control." Richard shook his head. "But I'm not stupid. The moment those documents are gone, I'm dead." Elena made a decision. "I have a proposition." Richard looked at her warily. "What kind of proposition?" "Give me the documents. All of them. Help me take down Victor at the board meeting." Elena held his gaze. "In exchange, I'll protect you. Protect me from Victor. From everyone. I'll make sure you don't go to prison, I'll make sure your family is provided for, and I'll make sure Victor never touches you. Richard stared at her. You're offering me a deal. After everything my family did to you. I'm offering you a choice. You can keep protecting Victor and wait for him to kill you. Or you can help me destroy him and maybe survive. What about my company, my reputation? Your company is 3 months from bankruptcy. Your reputation is already destroyed. Elena's voice hardened. I'm offering you a lifeline, Richard. The same kind Victor offered you 30 years ago. The difference is I'm not going to murder you when you're no longer useful. The silence stretched. Richard stared at his empty glass, at the photograph on his desk, at the woman who had every reason to hate him. Catherine and the kids. Will they be protected? I don't care about Catherine, but Marcus and Priscilla won't be harmed. They're pathetic, not dangerous. Richard flinched at the word pathetic, but he didn't argue. The documents are in a vault at First National, box 7749. The key is in my desk at home, hidden in a hollow book on the 3rd shelf. I'll have someone retrieve it tonight. Wait. Richard held up his hand. There's something else. Something I never told anyone. Elena waited. The night your mother died. The night of the accident. Richard's voice dropped to barely a whisper. I was there. Elena's blood turned to ice. What? Victor called me. Said there was a problem he needed help with. I thought it was business. Richard's hands were shaking violently now. When I arrived, your mother's car was already at the bottom of the ravine. Victor was standing at the edge of the road, and he was holding a baby. Elena stopped breathing. He told me the mother was dead and the baby would be too if it went to the authorities. He said there were people who would take care of it, make it disappear, give it a new life. Richard's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know what to do. I was terrified, so I helped him. I drove him to a building downtown. He handed you to a woman I'd never seen before. And that was the last time I saw you until you married my son. Elena's entire body was trembling. You held me. Her voice came out strangled. You held me the night my mother died. I didn't know what Victor had done. I swear I didn't know until years later. You knew he was hiding something. You knew something terrible had happened, and you helped him anyway. I was scared, I was young, I made a terrible mistake. You stole my life. Elena slammed her hands on the desk. I spent 28 years in foster homes, alone, unwanted, abused, and you could have stopped it. You could have taken me to the police. You could have done the right thing. I know. Tears streamed down Richard's face. I know. And I've hated myself every day since. Elena stood up abruptly. Her chair fell backward. The documents. By midnight tonight. Or this deal is off. Elena, don't. She pointed a finger at him. Don't say my name. Don't apologize. Don't try to make yourself feel better. You helped steal my childhood. You watched my father search for me for 30 years. You let your son marry me without ever saying a word. Richard's face crumpled. I didn't know who you were. When Marcus brought you home, I had no idea. I didn't recognize... You recognized my mother's face. Everyone says I look exactly like her. You knew Richard. You knew and you said nothing. She turned and walked toward the door. The documents, midnight. Don't make me come looking for them. She slammed the door behind her. Rachel was waiting in the car. How did it go? Elena's hands were still shaking. He was there, the night my mother died. He helped Victor take me. Rachel's expression shifted. What? He didn't know about the murder, but he helped with the cover-up. He drove Victor to wherever they handed me off. Elena's voice broke. He held me in his arms and then gave me away like I was nothing. Rachel was silent for a long moment. Do you still want to protect him? I want Victor destroyed. Richard is a means to an end. Elena stared out the window. Once Victor is gone, Richard can rot for all I care. And the deal you offered? I'll keep my word. He won't go to prison. His family will be safe. Elena's jaw tightened. But he'll have to live with what he did for the rest of his miserable life. That's punishment enough. Rachel's phone buzzed. She read the message and her expression changed. We have a problem. What? Marcus just arrived at Victor's office. He's been in there for 20 minutes. Elena's stomach dropped. He's reporting back. Telling Victor everything you said at the coffee shop. Good. That's what we wanted. No, Elena, listen. Rachel showed her the phone. Maria just sent an update. She overheard part of the conversation. Victor isn't buying it. What do you mean? He thinks you're playing Marcus. He thinks the scared act was a trap. Elena's blood ran cold. How? I don't know. Maybe Marcus said something that didn't add up. Maybe Victor is just paranoid. Rachel's jaw tightened. But he's not backing off. If anything, he's accelerating. Accelerating how? He just made a call, same burner number as before. The contract killer. Elena forced herself to stay calm. How long do we have? Maria couldn't hear the details, but Victor looked happy when he hung up. Rachel started the car. We need to move you to a safe location. Now. No. Elena, this isn't negotiable. Someone is coming to kill you. And if I disappear, Victor wins. The board meeting is in 6 days. I need to be visible. I need to be present. You need to be alive. Then make sure I stay that way. Elena met Rachel's eyes. You said you'd do anything to protect me. This is anything. Keep me safe without hiding me. Rachel stared at her for a long moment. Then she nodded grimly. We double security. You don't go anywhere without a full team. Every building you enter gets swept first. Fine. And we accelerate our timeline. The board meeting is in 6 days. We move it up. How? I have friends on the board. People who owe me favors. Rachel pulled out onto the road. By tomorrow morning, there will be an emergency session. 48 hours from now, not 6 days. Victor won't be ready. Neither will we. But at least we'll be alive. Elena looked at the photograph still clutched in her hand. Victor and Edward Kane, smiling, confident, planning a murder. Get the documents from Richard's vault. Get Helen's files. Get everything we have. Elena's voice hardened. If we're going to war in 48 hours, I want every weapon we can find. The next 36 hours were chaos. Rachel worked through the night coordinating with allies on the board. By dawn, an emergency session had been called. Concerns about company stability in the wake of James Blackwood's death. Victor couldn't object without looking suspicious. Margaret retrieved the documents from Richard's vault. Years of financial records, wire transfers, offshore accounts, everything Richard had collected as insurance. Elena spread the documents across her father's desk and started building her case. At noon, Helen Drake arrived with her own files. Evidence of Victor's blackmail. Names of other board members he had compromised. The web of corruption he had built over 2 decades. This is everything, Elena asked. Everything I have. Helen looked exhausted. I've been gathering this for years, hoping someday I'd have the courage to use it. You have the courage now. I have no choice now. Helen sat down heavily. Victor knows something is wrong. He's been calling me every hour, demanding to know what's happening. What did you tell him? That I don't know anything. That the emergency session was a surprise to me, too. Helen shook her head. He doesn't believe me. I could hear it in his voice. You don't need him to believe you. You just need him to show up tomorrow. He'll show up. Victor never misses a board meeting. Helen hesitated. But he won't come alone. He'll have lawyers, security, a plan. So will I. That evening, Marcus called again. Elena answered on the 3rd ring. Elena, thank God. He sounded breathless, panicked. Something's happening. My father is losing his mind. He's been packing documents all day. He won't tell me what's going on. That's between you and your father. No, listen. I think he's going to do something stupid. I think he's going to run. Elena's pulse quickened. Run where? I don't know, but I heard him on the phone with someone. He kept saying tomorrow morning and before the meeting. Richard was planning to flee, Before Elena could use his evidence, before he could testify, Victor must have gotten to him. Marcus, I need you to do something for me. Anything. Keep your father at home tonight. Don't let him leave. How am I supposed to do that? I don't care how. Take his car keys, hide his passport, lock him in his office. Elena's voice hardened. If Richard disappears, everything falls apart. For all of us. Okay, I'll try. Don't try. Do it. She hung up and turned to Rachel. Victor got to Richard. He's going to run. Rachel was already moving. I'll send a team. No, if Richard sees security, he'll panic. He'll call Victor. Everything will unravel. Then what? Elena thought fast. Marcus will keep him contained for tonight, but tomorrow morning we need to get Richard to that meeting, willingly or not. You're talking about kidnapping. I'm talking about justice. Elena's eyes burned. Richard made a deal with me. He doesn't get to back out because he got scared. Elena, Margaret spoke from the doorway. There's someone here to see you. Who? She says her name is Linda Chen. Elena froze. That's impossible. Linda Chen died 26 years ago. She says she has information about your mother. Elena and Rachel exchanged glances. Search her, thoroughly, then bring her to the study. 5 minutes later, a woman in her 60s was escorted into the room. Gray hair, tired eyes, trembling hands. Miss Blackwood, thank you for seeing me. Who are you, really? My name was Linda Chen. 26 years ago, I faked my own death to escape Victor Ross. Elena stared at her. You were the social worker, the one who processed my paperwork. Yes, I put you into the foster system. I buried your real identity. Linda's voice shook. And I've regretted it every day of my life. Why are you here now? Because I heard what you're doing. It's all over the news. James Blackwood's secret daughter. The mysterious heir. Linda stepped closer. I know where Victor hid the rest of the evidence. The evidence that proves he murdered your mother. Elena's heart pounded. What evidence? Videos, audio recordings. Victor was paranoid. He recorded everything. Insurance against his partners, he called it. Linda's eyes met Elena's. Those recordings include the night your mother died. Victor documented everything. Where are they? A storage facility in Queens, Unit 1547. The key is hidden in a safety deposit box at a bank in Jersey City. How do you know all this? Because I helped set it up. Victor trusted me. Linda laughed bitterly. He trusted me right up until he decided I knew too much. That's when I ran. Elena studied the woman's face, looking for deception, looking for lies. Why should I believe you? You shouldn't. I've given you no reason to trust me. Linda reached into her pocket slowly. Rachel tensed. But maybe this will help. She pulled out a photograph and handed it to Elena. Elena looked at the image and her breath caught. It was a photo of her mother, holding a newborn baby, both of them smiling. On the back, someone had written, Grace and Elena, 3 hours old, the beginning of everything beautiful. Victor kept this as a trophy, Linda said quietly. He thought it was funny, a memento of his greatest victory. Elena's hands trembled as she held the photograph. You stole this from him. I stole a lot of things from him. That's why he wanted me dead. Linda straightened. I've spent 26 years hiding, waiting, praying someone would finally be strong enough to take Victor down. And you think I'm that person? I think you're Grace's daughter. I think you have her fire, her courage. Linda's eyes filled with tears. I think you're the only person who can finally end this. Elena looked at the photograph one more time. Her mother's smile, her own tiny face. Rachel, get a team to Queens. Bring back everything in that storage unit. And the safety deposit box? David can handle that. Elena looked at Linda. You're staying here, under protection. If you're telling the truth, you're a witness. If you're lying, you're a prisoner. I'm not lying. Linda's voice was steady. I've waited 26 years for this moment. I'm not going to ruin it now. The storage unit contained everything Linda had promised, and more. Boxes of files, hard drives, cameras, recording equipment, and one DVD labeled Insurance November 12th, 1997. The night Grace Blackwood died. Elena sat alone in her father's study. The DVD was in her hands. Rachel had offered to watch it first. Margaret had begged her not to watch it at all. But Elena needed to see. She needed to know. She put the DVD into the player. The screen flickered to life. Victor's face appeared. Younger, confident, smiling at the camera. November 12th, 1997, 9 p.m. Documentation of contingency execution. The camera panned to show a car at the bottom of a ravine, smoke still rising from the wreckage. Elena's stomach heaved. Victor's voice continued calm and businesslike. Subject eliminated as planned. Brake line severed. Vehicle lost control at expected location. No witnesses. The camera moved again. Closer to the wreckage, Elena could see a woman's body through the shattered windshield. Her mother, broken, lifeless, gone. Elena's tears fell silently. Victor appeared on screen again. Secondary objective secured. Infant retrieved from vehicle. Transfer to designated custody confirmed. All evidence of subject's discovery has been destroyed. He smiled at the camera. James Blackwood will never know. The company will pass to me eventually. Patience is the key. The screen went black. Elena sat in silence, tears streaming down her face, rage building in her chest. She had seen it now. The truth, the horror, the evil. Victor Ross had murdered her mother, stolen her from the wreckage, erased her existence, and he had documented it all like a business transaction. Elena stood up slowly. "Tomorrow," she whispered. "Tomorrow you pay for everything." The board meeting was in 12 hours, and Elena was ready for war. The morning of the board meeting arrived cold and gray. Elena stood in front of her mirror. She had chosen her outfit carefully. A burgundy dress, the same color as the champagne Catherine Whitmore had thrown in her face on New Year's Eve. Margaret appeared in the doorway. "The car is ready." "Is everyone in position?" "Rachel's team is already at the building. Helen confirmed she'll vote with us. And Richard." Margaret hesitated. "What about Richard?" "Marcus kept him home last night. But this morning, Richard tried to run. He made it to the airport before Rachel's people intercepted him." "Where is he now?" "On his way to the meeting, under escort." Elena nodded. "Good. He doesn't get to escape." "Not today." "Elena." Margaret stepped closer. "Are you ready for this? Once you walk into that room, there's no going back." "I've been ready for this my entire life." Elena turned away from the mirror. "I just didn't know it until now." The boardroom was packed. 18 board members, a dozen lawyers, reporters who had been tipped off about something major. And in the center of it all, Victor Ross. He looked confident, relaxed, like a man who had already won. Elena walked in and his expression flickered, just for a moment. Then the mask was back. "Miss Blackwood." Victor stood and extended his hand. "I'm so glad you could make it." Elena ignored his hand. "Wouldn't miss it for the world." She took her seat at the head of the table, her father's seat. Victor's jaw tightened. He sat back down. "Let's begin," said the board chairman, Thomas Chen, David's uncle, one of Victor's puppets. "This emergency session has been called to address concerns about the leadership transition at Blackwood Pharmaceuticals. I move that we discuss the competency of the current heir," Victor said smoothly. "Given Miss Blackwood's complete lack of experience, the board should consider appointing an interim management committee." "I second the motion," said Samuel Webb, another puppet. Elena said nothing. She let them talk. "Miss Blackwood has been CEO for less than a month," Victor continued. "In that time, stock prices have fluctuated wildly. Investor confidence is shaken. We need steady leadership." "And you're proposing yourself as that leadership?" Helen Drake spoke up. Victor smiled. "I've been with this company for 30 years. I know it better than anyone." "You certainly do." Elena's voice cut through the room. You know where all the money goes, where all the bodies are buried. Literally. The room went silent. Victor's smile froze. I don't know what you're implying. I'm not implying anything. Elena stood up slowly. I'm stating facts, and I have the evidence to prove every single one. She pressed a button on the remote in her hand. The screens around the room flickered to life. Financial documents, wire transfers, account numbers. $890 million, Elena said. Stolen from this company over 20 years, funneled through shell corporations in the Cayman, Switzerland, and Singapore, all traceable back to accounts controlled by Victor Ross. Murmurs erupted around the table. Victor laughed. These documents are clearly fabricated. Anyone could have created. These documents came from your own files, Victor. Elena's voice was ice. Retrieved from your private residence 3 nights ago, along with something else. She pressed another button. The screens changed. Now they showed photographs. Victor and Edward Kane, Victor and Richard Whitmore, Victor standing over the wreckage of a car. What is this? Thomas Chen demanded. This is evidence of murder. Elena's voice didn't waver. 28 years ago, Victor Ross arranged the death of Grace Chen Blackwood, my mother. He sabotaged her car. He stole me from the wreckage. He buried me in the foster system so he could eventually take control of this company. The room exploded. Board members shouted. Lawyers scrambled for their phones. Reporters typed furiously. This is insane. Victor jumped to his feet. These are lies, fabrications, are they? Elena pressed the button again. The screens went black. Then Victor's face appeared. Younger, confident, smiling at the camera. November 12, 1997, 9 p.m. Documentation of contingency execution. His recorded voice filled the room. Subject eliminated as planned. Brake line severed. Vehicle lost control at expected location. No witnesses. The camera panned to show the wreckage. Grace Blackwood's body visible through the shattered windshield. Several board members gasped. One woman covered her mouth in horror. Victor's recorded voice continued. Secondary objective secured. Infant retrieved from vehicle. Transfer to designated custody confirmed. James Blackwood will never know. The company will pass to me eventually. Patience is the key. The video ended. The room was completely silent. Victor stood frozen. His face had gone gray. For the first time in 30 years, he had nothing to say. You recorded your own crime, Elena said quietly. You were so arrogant, so certain you'd never be caught that you documented everything. That video is fake. Victor's voice came out strangled. It's been manipulated. Deepfake technology. The original recording has been authenticated by 3 independent forensic labs. Elena held up a folder. The reports are included in the evidence package being distributed to law enforcement as we speak. The boardroom doors opened. 4 police officers entered, followed by 2 FBI agents. Victor Ross. The lead agent stepped forward. You're under arrest for murder, kidnapping, fraud, and racketeering. You have the right to remain silent. Victor backed away from the table. His eyes darted around the room looking for an escape that didn't exist. This isn't over. He pointed at Elena. You think you've won? I have lawyers. I have connections. I'll be out by tomorrow. No, you won't. Elena's voice was calm. I've spent the past month tracking every dollar you stole, every ally you bribed, every secret you buried. Your lawyers have been informed that their retainers came from embezzled funds. Your connections are currently being visited by federal agents, and the evidence against you is so overwhelming that no judge in the country will grant you bail. The agents moved toward Victor. You're done, Elena said. You've been done since the moment you threw me into the foster system. You just didn't know it yet. Victor lunged at her. Rachel moved faster. She intercepted him, twisted his arm behind his back, and slammed him face first onto the conference table. That's assaulting the CEO of this company in front of witnesses, Rachel said calmly. Add it to the charges. The agents pulled Victor up and cuffed him. This isn't over, Victor screamed as they dragged him toward the door. I'll destroy you. I'll destroy everything. You're nothing. You're just an orphan. A nobody. Elena watched him go. I'm James and Grace Blackwood's daughter, she said quietly. and you're going to prison for the rest of your life. The doors closed behind him. Elena turned to face the board. Victor Ross is no longer affiliated with this company. All of his allies on this board are hereby suspended pending investigation. She looked at Thomas Chen, Samuel Webb, and Patricia Dunn. That includes the three of you. You can't do this. Thomas sputtered. We have contracts. Right. Your contracts were secured through bribery and blackmail. The evidence is in the same files that exposed Victor. Elena sat down in her father's chair. Security will escort you out. Your lawyers can contact our legal department to discuss terms. Rachel nodded to her team. The three suspended board members were escorted from the room. Now then, Elena looked at the remaining members. Does anyone else have concerns about my leadership? Silence. Good, let's get to work. The meeting lasted another 3 hours. Elena presented her plans for the company. New research initiatives, expanded charitable foundations, restructured governance to prevent future corruption. The board approved everything unanimously. When it was over, Helen Drake approached her. You did it! Helen's voice was filled with wonder. You actually did it. We did it. Elena shook her hand. I couldn't have done this without you. What happens now to the rest of us who helped Victor? That depends. Elena met her eyes. On whether you help me clean up his mess. Helen nodded slowly. I'll do whatever you need. Good. Start by identifying every person Victor blackmailed, every employee he threatened, every partner he extorted. Elena's expression softened slightly. They deserve to be freed from him too. Helen left. David approached next. The federal prosecutors want to meet with you. They're building a case against Victor's entire network. Schedule it for tomorrow, and make sure they know about the Whitmores. Already done. David hesitated. Elena, what you did in there, your father would be proud. I know. Elena touched the photograph in her pocket, the one of her mother holding her as a newborn. They both would be. That evening, Elena had one more meeting. The Whitmores. All of them, Richard, Catherine, Marcus, Priscilla. They were waiting in the lobby of Blackwood Tower, surrounded by security, looking terrified. Elena walked toward them slowly. Miss Blackwood, Richard stepped forward. His voice was shaking. Please, I did what you asked. I gave you the documents. I was going to testify. You tried to run this morning. I was scared. Victor threatened my family. Victor is in federal custody. He can't threaten anyone anymore. Elena stopped in front of him. But that doesn't mean you're free. What do you want from us? Catherine spoke up. Her voice was cold, but Elena could see the fear beneath it. Haven't you done enough? Done enough. Elena turned to face her. You threw champagne in my face. You called me a street rat. You threw me into the snow on New Year's Eve with $300 and a broken heart. I didn't know who you were. Would it have mattered? Elena stepped closer. Would you have treated me any differently if you knew I was worth $50 billion, or would you have just found a different way to use me? Catherine had no answer. Elena turned to Marcus. And you, my loving husband, the man who called our marriage a charity project, the man who was working with Victor to destroy me. Marcus's face went pale. I didn't know what Victor was planning. I swear. You knew enough. And Elena pulled out her phone and played a recording. Victor's voice filled the lobby. I want you to get close to her. Apologize. Make her trust you. And then you let my people handle the rest. Marcus's voice responded. What exactly do you want me to do? The recording ended. Marcus looked like he was going to be sick. You agreed to help Victor kill me. Elena's voice was quiet, deadly. You were going to deliver me to a murderer. I didn't know he was going to kill you. You thought what? That he just wanted to scare me. That he just wanted to control me. Elena shook her head. You didn't care what happened to me. You just wanted to be on the winning side. Elena, please. Marcus reached for her hand. I made mistakes. Terrible mistakes, but I did love you once. Don't. Elena pulled away. Don't pretend this is about love. This was never about love. Not for you. Not for your family. She turned back to Richard. Here's what's going to happen. The evidence I have implicates you in money laundering, obstruction of justice, and accessory to murder after the fact. Richard's face crumpled. You said you'd protect me. I said you wouldn't go to prison. And I'm keeping that promise. But not because you deserve it. Elena's eyes hardened. The federal prosecutors are willing to offer you immunity in exchange for full testimony against Victor. You'll cooperate completely. Hold nothing back. Help them put Victor away for the rest of his life. And then you're done. Whitmore Holdings is bankrupt, your assets are frozen, your reputation is destroyed. Elena gestured at the security guards. You'll be escorted from the city tonight. All of you. You'll relocate somewhere far away. And you'll never contact me again. You're exiling us. Catherine's voice rose. You can't do this. I can do whatever I want. I own the banks that hold your mortgages. I own the companies that employ your friends. I own the buildings where your lawyers work. Elena smiled coldly. I could destroy you completely. I could send Richard to prison. I could make sure none of you ever work again. Then why don't you? Priscilla spoke for the first time. Her voice was bitter. Why not finish us off? Because you're not worth it. Elena looked at each of them in turn. You're pathetic, all of you. You spent your whole lives stepping on people you thought were beneath you. And now you're going to spend the rest of your lives knowing that one of those people became more powerful than you could ever imagine. She turned to walk away. Elena, Marcus's voice stopped her. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't mean anything now, but I am sorry. Elena didn't turn around. I know you are. Her voice was quiet. That's the worst part. She walked away and didn't look back. The Whitmores were escorted out of the city that night. Richard testified against Victor for 6 weeks. His testimony combined with Elena's evidence guaranteed Victor a conviction on all charges. Victor Ross was sentenced to 45 years in federal prison. He would die behind bars. Catherine Whitmore moved to a small apartment in Ohio. She worked as a receptionist at a hotel, the same hotel chain where she had once hosted charity galas. Richard lived in a modest house nearby. He spent his days staring at the walls, thinking about the choices he had made, the life he had destroyed. Marcus got a job at a car dealership in Nebraska. He sold used vehicles to people who had no idea he had once been wealthy. Vanessa had left him the moment the money disappeared. He was alone. Priscilla deleted all her social media accounts. She worked retail at a mall unrecognized and unremarkable. Her influencer career was a distant memory. The Whitmores had lost everything. Not because Elena had taken it from them, but because they had built their lives on a foundation of cruelty and greed. And that foundation had finally collapsed. 1 year later, Elena stood on the balcony of her penthouse. The city sparkled below. Millions of lights, millions of lives, millions of stories being written and rewritten every day. She had done everything she set out to do. Blackwood Pharmaceuticals had grown to $67 billion. She had launched 3 new research initiatives, funded breakthrough treatments for diseases that had been ignored for decades. The Grace Blackwood Foundation had helped 15,000 people, orphans who needed homes, abuse survivors who needed support, foster children who needed someone to believe in them. Elena had become one of the most powerful women in America. Magazine covers, television interviews, invitations to the White House. But none of that mattered as much as this moment. Margaret appeared in the doorway. The car is here. Thank you. Elena drove to the cemetery herself. She didn't need security. She didn't need an entourage. This was personal. Her parents' graves were side by side. Grace Blackwood, beloved wife and mother. James Blackwood, devoted husband and father. Elena knelt between them and placed flowers on both headstones. I did it, she whispered. Everything you asked me to do. Victor is in prison. The Whitmores are gone. The company is thriving. The foundation is helping thousands of people. The wind rustled through the trees. Birds sang in the distance. I wish you could see it. Both of you. Tears fell, but she didn't wipe them away. I spent my whole life feeling invisible, worthless, unwanted. And then I found you, and everything changed. She touched her mother's headstone gently. I never got to meet you, but I see you every time I look in the mirror. I feel you every time I help someone who has no one else. Her voice broke. You're part of me. You always were. Then her father's headstone. You gave me 5 weeks. 5 weeks to learn who I was. 5 weeks to become who I was meant to be. She smiled through her tears. It wasn't enough time, but it was everything. She stood slowly. I'm going to make you proud. Both of you. Every day. For the rest of my life. She walked away from the graves, but she didn't feel like she was leaving them behind. They were with her. They would always be with her. That night, Elena hosted a gala. Not for business, not for publicity, for the Grace Blackwood Foundation. 500 guests filled the ballroom. Survivors of the foster system. Children who had been helped by the foundation. Social workers and advocates who had dedicated their lives to protecting the vulnerable. Rachel stood beside Elena as she prepared to speak. You've come a long way from that bus stop in the snow. Elena smiled. That feels like a different lifetime. It was a different lifetime. You were a different person. No. Elena shook her head. I was always this person. I just didn't know it yet. She stepped up to the podium. The room fell silent. 1 year ago today, I was thrown out of a party with nothing but the clothes on my back. I was called worthless. Garbage. A street rat who didn't deserve to exist. She looked out at the crowd. I spent 28 years believing those things were true. I spent 28 years thinking I was nobody, that I didn't matter, that no one would ever want me. Her voice strengthened. But I was wrong, and so is everyone who has ever been told those lies. Because our worth isn't determined by where we come from. It's determined by who we choose to become. She held up a photograph, her mother and father on their wedding day. These are my parents, Grace and James Blackwood. They loved me before I was born. They searched for me for 28 years. They believed in me when no one else did. She set the photograph down. I can't bring them back. I can't undo the years that were stolen from us, but I can make sure their legacy lives on. Through this foundation, through every child we help, through every life we change. Applause filled the room. Elena raised her hand for silence. There's one more thing. Tonight I'm announcing the creation of the Sterling Hope Initiative. $100 million dedicated to reforming the foster care system. New facilities, better training, more resources for social workers, and most importantly, more love for the children who need it most. The applause was thunderous now. Elena stepped back from the podium. Rachel was there. Margaret, David, Helen, Linda Chen, who had risked everything to help bring Victor down. Her family, not by blood, but by choice. Thank you, Elena said quietly. All of you. Thank us, Rachel laughed. You're the one who did all this. I couldn't have done any of it alone. That's what family is for. Later that night, after the guests had gone, Elena stood on the balcony one last time. Snow was falling, just like it had been 1 year ago. Just like it had been the night everything changed. But this time she wasn't shivering. She wasn't crying. She wasn't broken. This time she was exactly where she belonged. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Congratulations on the gala. Your mother would be proud. James would be proud. And so am I, Linda. Elena smiled. She thought about the journey that had brought her here. The pain, the loss, the betrayal, the moments when she had wanted to give up, and the moments when she had chosen to keep fighting. They had called her nothing. They had called her worthless. They had thrown champagne in her face and $300 at her feet. But she had risen. From orphan to billionaire. From victim to victor. From Elena Price to Elena Grace Blackwood. She had lost everything. And she had found everything. She had been thrown away like nothing. And she had become everything. Elena tilted her face toward the sky and let the snowflakes fall on her cheeks. I made it, she whispered. Mom, Dad, I made it. And somewhere above, she was certain they were watching, smiling, proud. Her name was Elena Grace Blackwood, and this was just the beginning.